Yay, I'm recording. Last week I forgot to press a button and I missed an episode. So sorry about that. I am back. I am Karen Seltz, your host. You are watching Irresistible You Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. And tonight I really want to delve into how do you know which voice you're listening to? And I know a lot of very spiritual people that think that it's their intuition that's saying, no, don't do that thing because it doesn't feel right. And I've had this so many times myself. Can you relate to that? Like you have something that is scary and your body is like, oh no, oh no, don't do that. That could get you hurt. And a lot of times, especially if we're in the spiritual realm, if we're doing all the stuff, we would think that is intuition. My intuition told me not to do that because I knew because it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right in my stomach. Well, I'm going to dispel a lot of stuff for you here because a lot of times when you're feeling that contraction, well, most of the time when you're feeling any type of contraction, that is fear. And the intuition is open, it's expansive. Even when it's directing you kind of away from something, it will direct you towards something else. So it's not just aversion. There's usually an open expansiveness to intuition. And it is not based in fear, it's based on this knowing. And your nervous system stays regulated while you're getting intuitive hits. Like there's no second guessing. I'm going to try to explain it. It's hard to explain the things that just happen naturally after you're used to dealing with them. But intuition, you think about, you ever have a car accident, for example, and then if you backtrack and you look at, did you have any signs ahead of time that something was going to happen? Like I don't know, you had like some idea in your mind, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this thing. And then you're like, well, that makes no sense. Like, of course, I'm going to go do this thing. There's no reason not to. But it was just this idea, like a little seed of doubt, like, maybe not. Usually, if people have something happen like that, if they look back, there were signs that they've ignored. So that's a good example of what did it feel like, right? So here's the thing. As a spiritual entrepreneur, I know many of you are in that realm. There are things that you get to do that you've never done before. They're outside of your comfort zone because you've never done them before. So whether you find them scary or not, your subconscious mind is reading them as potentially threatening because you've never done them. So anything unknown, anything you've never done before, the subconscious mind reads as that could be dangerous. We don't know what we're getting into. We've never done it before. So it starts throwing logic and reasons at you that makes so much sense inside your head. And then also the body, which is also the subconscious mind, will start doing these things that are fear. It's your nervous system that is activated that produces fear. Like, if I do that, I'm going to get hurt. And it's a long story where it comes from, but we're essentially programmed that way from a very, very young age. So as children, we are programmed by our parents, not on purpose. They're not like doing it, sitting around like, how can I program my children? Like, they're not doing that, but they're parenting probably the way they were parented or the way they read it in a book or the way they think they're supposed to do it. And most parents think that their children's behavior is a reflection of them. So they're very concerned with their children behaving in a way that's socially acceptable, or else they look bad. They look like bad parents and people judge them. And judgment, from the time we're young, judgment equals like banishment. You're being banished from the community and you're going to die, right? If you get banished and you're in a primitive culture and you can't fend for yourself, you have no tools, no blankets, no furs, whatever, you're going to die. And as children, we know innately that if we do not please our food bringers, our parents, our grandparents, whoever's raising us, that we are going to die. And so the parents unknowingly kind of play on this innate fear of abandonment to get us to comply as children, to get us to behave so that they raise good children. That's good girl. I'm so proud of you. Bad girl. I'm so disappointed in you. And anytime we hear like good, we're like, we want to do it again. We want to please our food bringers because that means we're going to survive. It ensures our survival. So people pleasing is kind of innately like installed in us at a very young age. So then, you add on the educational system. Again, kids are rewarded for good behavior. If you sit still and don't speak and you do your work, you get a good grade. Or, you raise your hand before you speak and you have the answers, you're rewarded for that. Whereas if you're like in the back talking, I don't know anyone like that, you might get asked to stand in the corner or you might get detention or, whatever. I was the talker in the class, you might guess. Here I am talking in a socially acceptable format online. Yes. So think about that. Like our whole system is based on pleasing everybody except who? Us. So we learn not to listen to our own intuition, to our own guidance. So most people, they get to a point where they're like fed up. They can't do it anymore. And they're like, this is enough. Like, I'm so tired of being resentful because I said yes to this thing or this person. And every time I say yes, I'm more and more exhausted and more pissed off because I don't want to do the thing. I don't want to do it. Don't they know? Why do they keep asking me to do this stuff? Don't they know I don't want to do it? Well, no, you keep saying yes. That means you do want to. You're agreeing to it. So then let's add on to this. I mean, I'm getting way off topic here, but it's fun. Let's follow the rabbit down the hole. So then you get addicted to being a victim or a martyr, not you, your mind. Like it produces these chemicals because it's comfortable. Like you're so used to saying yes and being pissed off about it and being right about being pissed off about it and being a martyr that your mind finds this comfortable. So like your conscious mind is like, this sucks. Like, why do I keep doing this to myself? I hate it. But you have these patterns that are ingrained. Your mind has ingrained those patterns into you. So when you break out of them or think about breaking out of them, most people be gripped with fear, like, oh, I'm going to lose all my friends if I say no. Like, nobody's ever going to invite me to anything again. And I'm going to die alone, right? There it comes back to that dying alone thing, that fear of abandonment, that banishment, that death. And it takes a lot of momentum, usually, or something major to break, where you're just like, the dam breaks. You're like, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to say no. Or, I'm going to invite people to do what I want to do. So it takes some time to do that. Now, let's get back to intuition. Now, because all that stuff has been programmed in there since such a very, very, very young age, you don't think about it. It's completely unconscious. It's in that 95% of everything that's unconscious. And as Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule you and you will call it fate. So we don't know what we don't know. So we get to start digging in and really looking. So now, how do I distinguish if something's intuition or if it's fear? Number one, my body. My body is very distinct. It has very distinct reactions. A lot of times, if it's intuition, I'll get goosebumps or God bumps, whatever you want to call them. It feels expansive. It feels juicy. It feels good. Even when it's like avoiding someone, like I've had this happen on the phone with people that I'm considering dating. So there's like a preliminary phone call, right? And my body will be just like, No, no, thanks. It's just, it's not like a, it's like a, no, no, it's just not in alignment for me. And I just have a knowing, but I don't contract. There's just a, it's like, would you like chicken or beef? It's like your body doesn't contract usually unless you have an aversion to one of them. Or do you want your first favorite meal or your second favorite meal? Like you just have a knowing, like, oh, this one sounds better to me. So it's like that. It's not that big of a deal and it's expansive. And a lot of people have intuitive hits in very, very different ways. And it's so fun when you develop your clairs, the five clairs. So I am primarily clairaudient. So I hear guidance a lot, a lot. So I'll hear a voice inside my head. It's my voice. It's not like some booming voice. It's my voice with a different quality, a different tone to it. It's not judgmental. It is very loving and accepting and decisive. It's not opinionated. It's just like this and loving, loving, loving. And also clairsentient, which means I feel sensations in my body. And my body, things are no for me. Sometimes it will contract, especially if I'm afraid, right? If I'm afraid, my body will contract. But there's also this warm sensation in my body, and my body tends to fall forward if it's a yes. And then there's kind of like this innate wisdom, like in my womb space, like I just have a knowing. So that's for me is clairsentient. Clairvoyant is you actually see visions or you have pictures that come into your mind like, oh, I could see that, or you just see a flash of something and you know which way to go or which way you're being directed to go. And then you get to choose whether you follow it. Some people have the other ones, which is, I don't even know how to say it, but the ones where you can actually like taste things, and then one where you can smell things. And I've had some of the smell ones lately, and they're so bizarre to me. I didn't even know it was I mean, I knew it was a thing intellectually, but I hadn't experienced it. But sometimes I'll smell like coffee or like something interesting when there's no coffee around because I work from home, right? So just start practicing. And then also you get to grant permission to God, source, spirit, the universe. Like, I'm ready to receive signs. I'm ready. I'm ready. Open up my third eye. Open up whatever clair you want to open up. Ask for it. Ask for it and be open to that energy. And then start noticing every time you get a hit. Just start noticing it. And if you have a little notebook, it's a really good idea to record these because what you focus on expands. And a lot of times we're focusing on what is not working. So if you start focusing on what is working, you're going to experience more of it and you're going to notice more of it because a lot of it is going on, but we're just not paying attention. So start writing it in your notebook like, wow, I got this today, this intuitive hit. And then what happened when you followed it, or what happened if you didn't follow it? And just take note of it as a scientific observer, not from a judgment perspective, but just out of curiosity, like, I wonder what happens if I follow this intuitive hit. I wonder what happens if I don't. And here's the thing, you can't do it wrong. You can't miss an opportunity that was meant for you. If something's meant for you, it's going to come back, even a lesson, right? And we all know that. So if we have a lesson that we're ready to learn and our soul is like, I'm ready to learn this, and our mind is like, oh no, please, I don't want it. I don't want this lesson. It's going to keep coming and it's going to keep getting louder and louder until we listen. So, what do those voices say? If you happen to hear voices in your head, so a lot of people talk about the voice of the inner critic. So, I always say, like, is it loving? The voice in your head that is spirit is usually quiet and still. So the ego voice is kind of loud and obtrusive, like they're going to laugh at you. You better not do this. You're going to get hurt. Hey, you only have one opportunity to make a first impression. You better get it right. Oh, that's a good one. So anytime we make something important, like you better get it right, whoo, Subconscious mind says, oh, if we don't get it right, we could die. So, how about, wouldn't it be fun if instead of I got to get it right, like, and done is better than perfect, like just do the thing, do the thing. You're going to get better at it, whatever it is, right? So have some fun with this. And if you hear those voices in your head, talk back if nobody's around. If somebody's around, talk back inside your head because you don't want to be committed. It's so funny. I'm going to go on a tangent, but my daughter's pediatrician, every time she goes there, they ask, like, do you ever hear voices in your head? I'm like, don't answer that. Do not answer that. Or do you ever see things that aren't there? Because she sees things sometimes. I'm like, do not answer that because they'll think you're crazy. And you're just tuned in. You're tuned into things that most people can't see. So, anyways, yeah. So you don't want to be committed and you want to honor yourself. So the voices in your head, you can ask, like, are they loving? Hmm? Sometimes. Are they fear-based, right? If they're fear-based, that's definitely the ego. That's never intuition. Like if you do this, you're going to die. That's the subconscious mind or the ego that's trying to protect you. That's its job. It has your back, right? It'll do everything it can to ensure your survival, your physical survival. And it also equates your emotional survival, like whether you're embarrassed or ashamed, with physical survival. And I don't know anybody who's been so embarrassed that they died. I mean, I don't know. I've been embarrassed a few times. I've never died. I've been ashamed lots of times, never died. I've been guilty, never died. So I'm just saying, like the subconscious mind, it has your back, but sometimes it doesn't seem like it. It seems like there's this part of you that's like sabotaging you. And I invite you to look at it differently. Look at it like, how is it protecting me? How does it want to support me? But then play with it, have some fun. So, is it loving? Is it fear based? Is it true? So, if you were to tell somebody else what that voice in your head is telling you, like you're not good enough, like, is that true? If you ask anybody else that about you, I mean, if they love you, of course they're going to say, of course it's not true. And if you think that about anybody else, like, is anybody else not enough? I don't think it's possible. You can't you can't earn your worth. There's nothing you can do to make yourself any more worthy than you are. And there's nothing you can do to make yourself any less worthy than you are. Like you were born worthy, you cannot change it. You can't earn it. Even though most of us tried, right? We tried to earn love growing up. Like, if I'm a good girl or a good boy, mommy and daddy will love me and they will praise me and they'll whatever, they'll take care of me or give me this toy I want, whatever it is. And we equate our worth, most of us, with how others perceive us. So that is a slippery slope, man. You can never ever be full. If you keep looking for something outside to fill you up, you can never be full. So you get to do it. It's an inside job. And just when I say this, it's a fundamental truth that everybody has the same worth. Everybody does. It never ever changes. So, yes, a murderer has the same worth as a Nobel Peace Prize winner. They have the same innate worth and it can't change. And I believe in God's eyes, it doesn't change. God loves us the same, no matter what. We cannot mess that up. And it took me a long time to get that. When I was doing things that I was very much ashamed of, I thought there's no way any God could love me. No way. So I just hid. I'm like, well, if I do this, if I ignore God, then God doesn't exist and God won't see what I'm doing. But of course, it doesn't work. And the moment I opened up and was willing to receive God's love, then I started to feel it. And I used to do this practice. I've mentioned it on several episodes in the past, but I'll mention it again. It's from the Way of Mastery, and it's a 5-minute meditation. And all you do is you just sit quietly, close your eyes, And on the inhale, you think to yourself, I accept. And on the exhale, the love of God or the love of spirit, whatever word resonates with you. But when you get that, I accept the love of God, that it's always been there for you. It's just you were rejecting it, most likely because you didn't feel worthy of it. Because we're raised to think that we're only lovable when we're good or we're perfect. Blah. Like perfect is so boring and it's so unattainable, and it's a target that never ever gets closer. Like the second you think you're there, it moves, and it's always out of reach. And that's a trick that the ego uses to keep you stuck and feeling separate, separate from your highest self, separate from God, separate from others. So don't fall for it. Say, I see you, ego. Not today. Not today. Stick your hand out like, stop. Not today. And play, because the ego is very, very serious and your spirit is playful. It is abundant. It is infinite. It is curious. It's open. Think of a child that's open with like the big, wondrous eyes, like seeing things for the first time. That's your spirit. So, what if you go through your day like that tomorrow, like just looking at everything through those fresh eyes, like looking for ways that the universe is loving, looking for ways that you matter, that you contribute, that you add value to people's lives. Imagine what you're going to experience. It's beautiful when you play with that. So I invite you to open your heart and feel love, like breathe love right into your heart. Breathe it in. And then think about a person or a pet that's so easy to love. Like we all have something or somebody that's easy to love. It's not hard, it's just so easy. And don't judge yourself for who that is. Just be with it. And then breathe that love into your heart that you have for that person and allow it to expand past your body and out. And then you can start sending it out everywhere you go. And when that love is emanating from you, you're going to magnetize people to you, the right people, loving people, or people that need love, right? Like we're all just as worthy. We're all just as lovable. Sometimes, people need love, so they behave badly, right? They're like, love me, love me, love me. But it looks like, wah, or you suck, or you stink, or it looks like that. But they're saying, love me, love me. Can you love those people? Practice. It takes practice. It's not always natural and easy, but practice it because it's worth it. Because when you can love somebody who's like in your face and rejecting you, apparently, I mean, it seems seemingly, then you can love anyone. And when you feel that way, when you're able to do that, trust me, you will feel lovable. You'll be like, damn, I nailed it today. And that's what you want. You want those days where you're like, I nailed it, man. I was loving in the face of my enemy or in the face of somebody that was flipping me off. I was able to love them. And there's no better feeling than that. Like to feel like you have triumphed over your environment and you remained true to your ideals and you remain loving. Oh, it's so juicy. I have a free gift for you guys. I have a brand new meditation that is designed to help you regulate your nervous system really quickly. So if you're triggered or stressed, you can put on this meditation and it should calm you down pretty quickly. My recommendation is that you get it and you listen to it every single day for like 3 to 6 weeks. And then you're going to install these neural pathways. And what I'm recommending is that while you're at the height of relaxation, you choose some anchors. Now, what anchors are things that remind your subconscious mind of a particular state that you want to replicate. So when you're feeling relaxed and peaceful, breathe in whatever color comes to mind that reminds you of being peaceful and breathe that color in and imagine that color filling your entire body. And then choose a fragrance that reminds you of peace and breathe that fragrance into your body. And then choose some type of physical anchor point. So physical anchor is, anything you can touch. So it could be like this, it could be this, it could be this, any point you can touch on your body. And then when you do that enough times, you are wiring your brain for relaxation with those anchors. So say it's this and aqua blue and rose. You're breathing it in when you're relaxed, this aqua blue and rose. And you keep wiring that into your brain. After you do that enough times for 3 to 6 weeks every day, this is a 5 minute meditation. It's less than 5 minutes. Then, if you encounter any type of stress, you have the circuitry in your brain already there. So you can just, you're driving, you're like, oh, all right, aqua blue, rose. All right. Okay. And your body remembers, your subconscious mind remembers. So you're installing that circuitry. So when you need it, it is there. So play with that. You can get it on my website, which is KarenSeltz.com, my name, and pick it up because it's it's pretty juicy and it's so quick. And why not? 5 minutes a day is all it takes to regulate your nervous system. And you owe it to yourself and your family and your coworkers and society and the world to be your best self. And the only way you can do that is with a calm, regulated nervous system. Thank you so much for watching Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. I have a special guest next week, a matchmaker. Yes, matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. You're welcome, Fiddler. And Kat Candrell will be with me next week, so check it out. It's going to be super fun. Thanks for watching. Bye.